Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna live in a paradox. Think about your most successful self. How do they act? How do they talk? How do they approach people? What is their attitude in their day-to-day life? Now I need you to ask yourself, how far away do they feel? 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. You are gonna act like they would in their day-to-day scenarios. When you wake up, the mindset that you have towards the day, you are gonna have the mindset of that 5-year version of you from now. That 10-year, future 10-year, 10 plus year version of you. That is a mindset you need to wake up with. When you go to get your coffee, the way that you interact with the barista, you're gonna interact with them as if you are that successful version of you. Also, any and all tasks, of course, that you approach throughout the day, the way that you structure your day, the way that you talk to people, you will talk to them as if you are playing pretend and are that successful version of you. Now, if you've been watching my videos for some time, you might be thinking, okay, so she's just talking about some law of attraction, law of assumption shit. Yes, but this is the practical application of it. And the reason I'm mentioning it like this and this way is because there's a sort of paradox that we need to live in order to feel fulfilled. And this paradox that I mean is, I've heard this on a podcast that I've been listening to with Chris Williamson and Alex Hormozi. I don't know if they mentioned it as a paradox. I can't remember whose quote this is, so please, if anybody knows, feel free to credit that down below. I don't remember exactly, but basically we give up the thing that we want in order to achieve that exact thing. So we'll give up happiness for success, thinking that success will lead us to happiness. They explain it a lot better than I do. In my personal life, that's meant that I have, what do I value the most, right? I value personal connection. I value communicating with other people and helping them along their journeys. That's what I'm about. I value being a positive person and putting positive energy out there. But what have I done? What sacrifice have I made? Because I have made a sacrifice, and I have to keep it real with myself. My sacrifice has been that I isolated myself. I don't communicate with people the way that I truly want to, because I think that, oh no, I'm focusing on myself. Oh, well, I don't need to do this right now, because one day when I'm successful, I will do it. No. We all know that money doesn't change you. Money just makes you more of the person that you already are. Right? And a lot of us do associate success with money. So if we just say success, when you're successful, your mindset, your foundational mind, don't expect that just because your external circumstances have changed, that you're suddenly going to be a good person. I'll be a good person when? I'll talk to people the way that I want to talk to them when? I'll conduct myself or go about my day-to-day life when? Stop delaying. When you delay the behavior of the person that you want to be, you delay becoming that person ever. You might as well give up on that version of you even existing, because they're not going to come about. If they do, it's just going to be a shell of them. You're going to be a shell of the person that you want to be. Think about it. So your Pinterest board, you have maybe, I don't know, a lot of people have this where they'll have the car, and they'll show somebody with the aesthetic thing where they're holding the steering wheel or the watch, and the button up and the cool trousers, and everybody has these sort of visions of what success would look like for them, right? Now, you might sit there every morning, do your visualization, visualizing how it would feel to do that dream job, to walk into your dream house, to drive that dream car. Okay. But you're not thinking about the person behind the steering wheel, what's going on in their mind, the mundane day-to-day activities of when they wake up. How do they feel about their day? When somebody has, I don't know, perhaps fallen over in front of them, what do they do? How do they act? When it's somebody's birthday, family member's birthday? Do they show up? Are they there? Is family important to them? You think that by shutting down the value system that is true to you, you will lead a fulfilled life. No, you won't. You'll lead the opposite of that. A very unfulfilled life. You might have the shell, you might have the watch, you might have the car, you might have the house. But you will not have true deep fulfillment. You will feel like there's something missing. Do not give up the little things that make you you. I don't mean like we have to cull on our way towards success. There will be periods where you do have to sacrifice sleep, even if health is something that is important to you. There will be a time where you will probably have to sacrifice going to that friend's birthday party. Yeah, there will be times where you do have to sacrifice little things. But if your priority is health is important to me, my friendships are important to me, then you still need to find a way to show up for that. Prioritize that in the way that you can in your current circumstances. Because whatever you are now, you're just going to become more of that. With success, with money. Call it law of attraction, call it law of assumption, call it living in a paradox. But if you want to live a fulfilled life, you need to show up as yourself. It's the most simple thing, and that's why it kind of goes over people's heads. Even mine. We think that I also heard this in the same podcast, Serious Creds to Alex Hormozy here for this one. You might be winning at playing somebody else's game. And sure, it might feel great at times, but it's always gonna feel like there's something missing. Until you start playing your own game, it's so true. I've seen this in my own life. Until you say, okay, what are the terms and conditions for my life? How do I personally define success? And then you act accordingly and create your version of success, you'll be a lot happier. We all know happiness is now. It's not something that comes about like fulfillment. I mean to say fulfillment. Fulfillment is not something that comes about when you've achieved X, Y, Z. Fulfillment is in the day-to-day. Happiness is sort of like an outcome, I feel. Happiness is I'd say out of happiness and fulfillment, happiness is genuinely more of an outcome. You exercised so you feel happy. You had an evening out so you feel happy. But happiness isn't the key to fulfillment. Fulfillment is. You posted that YouTube video today, that's fulfillment. If your goal is to become a YouTuber and you posted a YouTube video today, that is fulfillment. You're doing the right thing. If your goal is to be a super social person and be able to put yourself out there, today you asked the barista, hi, hello, how are you? You asked them questions. Do you have any plans for the weekend? You made an effort. You showed up for yourself, for your goal, for your version of success. If you want to be a more peaceful person, okay, well, what are you doing today to heal yourself? What are you going to do tomorrow so that you respond rather than react? Are you going to take up meditation? We think that these things will magically come about later. We neglect them as a result of that. But what you do now, no matter how old you are, you're building the foundation of the character of your future self. Okay, you may not be able to go to 5 friends' birthday parties because they all have their birthday in the same month, but are you going to call all of them on their birthday and wish them happy birthday? Are you going to remember them? Okay, you can't afford to give your kids the lifestyle that you want to give them. Even though you want to be able to, that's an expression of your value, to give them the most and the best of the best. Okay. Well, what can you work with now? What is it so that when you go to bed tonight, you feel at peace? You don't feel regret within yourself. That if this were my last day, I know I gave my everything. Anything and all that I actually could with the circumstances that I'm currently operating in, the physical circumstances that I'm currently operating in. Joy, fulfillment is now. It is now. You wake up today, you wake up tomorrow, and you say, thank you. You don't need to be in that Pinterest board life to feel joy. And a lot of people might hate me for that. They'll be like, you don't know what I wake up with. You don't know what my... Yeah, I don't. But I'm still telling you the truth. You don't need to be in that Pinterest life to feel joy. You don't. It's internally generated. There are so many... Think about how many people have been through the shittiest of times. Hell. And they've still made it. This is not me discounting your pain. No, definitely not. Your pain can exist, but so can joy in the same space. And a lot of people don't want to admit that. Myself included at times. I think, no, because this has happened, because I am living a life that is more like to please or because I went through this, or circumstances are the way they are, this is just how it is. I don't surrender. This isn't surrendering. That's giving up. Surrendering is being like, I'm going to wake up with joy every day, or make an effort to wake up with joy every day. Accept and acknowledge that this physical reality is where I'm at now, and I know I'm going to get to that Pinterest board. And as for the timing and how the events unfold, I leave that up to God or the universe. Because I know if I wake up and I set out to feel joy and create that in my life, that how could I not get there? You will wake up one day and you won't just have the watch, the car, the house, and the dream job, but you will have fulfillment too. So don't neglect the day-to-day. Don't neglect the mindset. Don't neglect the interactions. Don't neglect how you perceive yourself, because these are the foundational things that will create the most fulfillment and most joy in your life. A lot of us postpone our own joy. A lot of us postpone our own fulfillment because we think that we're not worthy of it yet. We're not deserving of it yet. What do you want about? What do you want about? Because you made some mistakes? Because by other people's standards, you're a disappointment, you don't deserve to feel joy? The primary reason that we are here is to fulfill our destiny, and we cannot do that without fulfilling ourselves, without being fulfilled ourselves. I hope that makes sense. Don't underestimate the power that you hold in today. In the version of you that exists now. You are magnetic, okay? Whatever you put out, that is what you will get back. So if you put out, okay, yes, if I do X, Y, Z, I'm going to get the watch, I'm going to get please understand this is a metaphor. I'm going to get the house, I'm going to get, right, okay. But where's your joy? If you don't put out that joy, that fulfillment, you're not going to get more of that. It is as simple as what you focus on grows. And if you're focusing on success, but this success is void of fulfillment, you think that success will create the fulfillment. No. Success is fulfillment. Success doesn't create fulfillment. Success is fulfillment. And if success is fulfillment, then create fulfillment now so that you can experience success. We think it's so far away. We think it's when we hit 30, when we get that job, when we're married, When we have the kids and the picket fence, but obviously people now have a different thing. When we're doing that, what's it called? That remote internet working job or whatever. Like, we think it's all the way over there. Or maybe not all the way, maybe just over there. No. Bring it back to you. Bring it back to here. Bring it back to now. It is now. What, you woke up too late today. You have a bajillion things on your list of things to do. Everyone wants something from you. You're pulling your hair out. You're going crazy. Okay, yes. Your circumstances are demanding. Of course they are. But what makes you think they're going to be any less of that when you're doing that job? It is the mindset that we have of the grass being greener when we achieve X, Y, Z. No. It is the mindset of that which keeps us from watering the grass that we are currently on now. If you cannot find joy in today, what makes you think you're going to be able to find it 10 years from now? What makes you think that when you have the watch, the car, the house, the dream job, that you're going to wake up with joy? Because you haven't built that habit. You haven't made that a foundation of your character. And so, what if you're in the situation where you have the house, the car, the da-da-da-da-da, everything you think, okay, well, it's not too late to change. May I remind you, regardless of your age, regardless of who you are, where you're from, the circumstances, clearly, as we've mentioned, it is not too late to change. And people also put that limit on themselves that, oh, I'm this age, I cannot change. Oh, well, I've done all this, and you're young, it's easy for you to say you have the whole world. No. There's this thing of when you're in your young 20s, you have the whole world to explore. Why don't you? Are you not also a human being? Are you not also just as much a member of the society as I am? This is where youth is a mindset. You got to be willing to change. You got to be willing to wake up and see things differently. You got to be willing to open your mouth and have that conversation that you're scared to have, that you're postponing for the character the character and the version of you that exists 10, 15 years from now. Have that conversation now. Be that version of you now. Because you know why? You create that fulfillment. You exude the energy. Do you know how powerful and how energetically magnetizing it is to be that version of you? Everything you want will come to you in half the time. And the thing is, you won't even feel like you really need it at that point. You may have a slight desire for it, but desire is created when there is lack. And when you wake up every day and you feel joy, fulfillment, naturally you create a sense of abundance. You just feel abundance. And when you feel abundance, how could you possibly be attached to anything like the images on your Pinterest board? You may enjoy them. You might see them as, you know how people are like, oh yeah, dessert, you know, I could have dessert. Like that Cher quote of like, men are like dessert. Like, I enjoy dessert, but I don't need it, right? That's when you know you're at true fulfillment. When you know you could have this, you could have that, but you see your present, and you are genuinely so, it means so much to you that, yeah, it would be amazing to have that, but you're actually just so cool with what you have now. And I don't mean like, oh, well, you know, it is, I don't need that, no, that's denial. You're in denial at that point. You're not fulfilled. If you're just telling yourself lies of, yeah, no, I don't need that, I don't actually need that, that's for, oh, I hate all rich people. No. Honey, you still have some healing to do. You're clearly not fulfilled, because the most fulfilled person will never feel like they're lacking, really, in themselves. They will never feel the need to be jealous, because they see that they have so much themselves. Do you get what I'm saying? We walk about as if 100 is fulfillment and 0 is being unfulfilled. I'm not quite sure if that is the same scale. Like, you know how satisfaction and dissatisfaction are like two different scales. It's not one scale. People often put satisfaction on one side and dissatisfaction on the other, when actually it's just satisfaction, like satisfied and less satisfied, and like dissatisfied and less, like, is it they're like two scales. But anyway, let's just say for argument's sake, or like for this circumstance, that 100 is fulfillment and 0 is a lack of fulfillment, right? We think that at 100, hold on, I need to remember what I was saying. So what I'm trying to say is, if 100 is the most, right, and 0 is the least, we will never say that we're at 100. As humans, we will never say that we're at 100, and I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. We should always be striving to do and be better, and to create more of that sense of fulfillment, because I think that's that innate sort of sense of destiny. But if you're putting yourself at a 20, or you're putting yourself at a 0, you're putting yourself at below 50, honey, you got issues. And I don't mean that in a judgmental way. I mean, you have problems you need to solve. And either you have not been taking the initiative, or the solutions that you have been taking are just not working. And that's okay, and you need a new approach. So I hope that this can help you this video can help to create that new approach for you, maybe. I certainly am taking inspiration. This whole concept was derived from that podcast, but I've just made it my own, and I hope that this helps people out there to see the world in a way that makes them feel better. You have to admit, you do not have control over the hands that you were dealt. You don't. There are people out there that externally they have everything they need to be successful, and yet they are not. By other people's terms, by their own terms, they are not successful. They settle. They don't go after what they want. And then you have people out there that have the complete opposite, where people would say they have nothing. How could they possibly get to where they want to go? And they make it, and then some. Mindset really does prevail. So create a solid one now. That's it for today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.